AskReddi by stupid ginger girl. Why did that one kid get expelled? He kicked my friend in the ass so hard it broke his tailbone. He literally broke my friend's ass. A friend of a friend broke his finger after sticking it on another dude's ass. Not related, but wanted to say it anyways. The final straw was when he lit a cigarette in French class and refused to put it out. Smoked it all. He was 13. I see him every now and again and he's a mess. Just method acting to know French better. Running through the cafeteria at lunch naked with a backpack on that he set on fire. Legendary. He sprayed another student with Zippo fluid and was attempting to set the student on fire when he was tackled. I had a friend at my private school who basically got asked to take a year off. Spent that year at a private military school, shaping up. Told us later that one thing that helped him do that was learning that what he had done to get there was nothing compared to what some of his classmates did. One kid had, at a boarding school, locked another kid in his dorm room with tons of paper, then lit the paper on fire as a joke. For lifting up his shorts and exposing his balls through the leg hole to the principal while said principal was escorting potential investors for the school. Okay, that's so funny but understandable why he was expelled. Russian exchange student in high school. Chased a squirrel, caught it bit him, so he swung it by the tail against a tree. He was expelled for having a detailed map of the school with locations where he wanted to place bombs and a list of students he wanted to kill and how he was going to do it. Well, that escalated quickly. Planned a food fight that turned into a riot with property damage and then fled from the police. At a high school near me, 20 years ago, the senior class decided to have a food fight at lunch on the last day of classes one year. Turned into a riot with the school locked down for the whole afternoon, kids frantic on cell phones, even then, with their parents because they had no clue why this was happening, and the state police and about 20 other local law enforcement agencies deployed to the school. The school expelled 12 of the graduating seniors, very difficult to do for a public school, but not impossible, and barred about the same amount of others from taking part in graduation. Kindergarten, a long list of threatening behaviors. Foster kid with every kind of past abuse. Told me he was going to shoot himself and then come shoot me. I refrained from pointing out his lapse and logistics. That situation is awful for everyone. Anyone who abuses kids should be locked away forever. He kept getting caught having sex in the gymnastic room. They literally had cameras in the room and he kept bringing girls there between classes. Got caught like 5 times before he got expelled. If I were a girl at that school, I would simply not have sex with a guy who had already been caught and filmed 4 times, in the exact same place he had been caught before. Playing kickball in gym class, kid kicked his shoe off and his bag of weed came flying out right to the teacher's feet. I was in the theater department back in high school. One day at the beginning of our acting class, the teacher came in and told us all to sit down. This one kid sat in the middle of the front row and as he took his seat, his glass weed pipe fell out of his pocket and clattered to the floor. Everyone is silent for a moment. Then the teacher just goes, "Alright. I'm gonna go out in the hallway for 30 seconds. Then I'm gonna come back in and we'll try this again." Walked out. Walked back in 30 seconds later like he said, saw that the pipe was no longer in evidence, and class proceeded like normal. Or as close to normal as theater classes ever get. Walked out of English class to talk to another kid in the hall. The teacher was real lax so she didn't care. He walked out to talk to this guy. Fight breaks out in the hall. Teacher runs out, other teachers come help break up the fight. One teacher asks the kid that walked out class why they were fighting and he said he stole my weed. Kid who left class was selling and the kid in the hall tried to walk off without paying. Any other BS excuse would have just got him suspended. Deleted. Happened in kindergarten. There was a kid named Dexter who had severe anger issues. Every day a small group of kids would get certain jobs to do around the classroom, such as line leader, table cleaner, etc. Dexter got the table cleaner position and he was absolutely livid since he wanted to be line leader. What started off as a screaming fit escalated into him throwing scissors around the class, biting the teacher's hand, shattering a window with his flying scissors, breaking the tank that housed the class gerbils, and just trashing the entire classroom. The rest of the students had to evacuate the class while the teacher and principal attempted to restrain him. Security had to get involved. Never saw him again after that day. Bruh, that's my name and I was a little brat in kindergarten, lol. At least that story wasn't about me, because we didn't have gerbils at my school. I read the first 2 sentences and thought, oh shit. He stabbed another kid with a letter opener he made in shop class. We didn't make letter openers in shop class after that. Edit, this was in junior high in the mid-90s. Y'all reminded me of the time a different kid got expelled for writing fanfic about kidnapping and torturing the cheerleading team. Was stabbed with a sharpened pencil stick, still not quite sure to this day, once by a fellow student. Right in my side. All he got was 3 months suspension. Guy grew up doing Muay Thai, boxing and wrestling. Forgot where he was during a wrestling match and threw a spinning back fist that knocked his opponent clean out. He was completely mortified once he realized what he did. Straight A student, star athlete, and genuinely good guy. The class president even addressed it and organized protests and walkouts until he was reinstated. Even the guy that got knocked out and his parents forgave him and supported us. He did get reinstated but wasn't allowed to wrestle or box anymore. Not sure what the coaches pulled to allow him to play football. He eventually quit football to his senior year and was never really the same. Fuck man, that's actually tragic. He made a bomb threat online. Most of the school skipped out the day he did because they didn't want to blow up. I was one of the poor souls with no social media, so I came into school, not knowing there was a frickin' bomb threat. I also had a mom who was unfazed and just told me, "You'll be fine. Go to class," when I called her. I didn't learn until the next day that he had been apprehended and expelled. What scared me was I knew him for years and he never seemed like the kind of person to go that far. He was a class clown, but I never thought he would take that as even a joke. Apparently he did have a bomb, but it thankfully never made it to the school grounds. Edit, spelling. Also, wow. I didn't imagine this would blow up like this. Thank you for the likes. However, I would like to say that while my mom made a mistake, that doesn't make her a bad parent. We have a really good relationship and I love her. She regrets the fact that she left me scared with little to no information, but she knew I would be fine. It was me who didn't know at the time. I cannot even imagine telling my kid to not worry about a fucking bomb threat and to just stroll right on into the building. What the heck? Thought he was funny and decided to grab the SRO, Student Resource Officers, gun. Our SRO also happened to be part of SWAT. He did this as we all left end of day, crowded hall. I remember this vividly over 20 years later. This was also post-Columbine by like a month. Kid got slammed into a wall, put in cuffs. Arrested and expelled immediately. How he thought that was funny is beyond me. Downloading porn on the school computers was the last straw. He even used his own login. Edit, that was more attention than I expected. Thank you everyone who wished me a happy cake day, who knew I'd spend it talking about porn. Couldn't have waited till he got home. Peeing on a teacher who wouldn't let him go to the bathroom. A girl changed her tampon in the corner of the classroom to prove a point. She was suspended pending expulsion, but her dad was a lawyer. A week later, any girl who wanted to use the bathroom was allowed, no questions asked. Fast forward 2 months and guys were getting pissed that we couldn't use bathrooms either. So one guy got denied a bathroom 3 times in the 90-minute class. He walked up and peed in the trash can. He was expelled. I guess he missed the part where you need lawyer parents. Tackled and restrained by coaches after he grabbed a bat from the storage room with the intention of beating his pregnant math teacher with it. Holy shit, this post is filled with insane kids. Flopped his dick on another dude's shoulder in his room at study hall. Boarding school is weird. That was a thing at my school. If you got a dick placed on your shoulder, you were gay until you put your dick on someone else's shoulder. Put a picture of his penis in the yearbook that led to an investigation that ultimately landed him and 3 buddies in jail. Did it actually go to print and distribution before they caught it? Something similar happened at one of our local high schools. This wasn't at my school and I never got the full details from my teacher, but from what I remember, think one of the seniors flashed his bits in one of the athletic team photos. While I get that it's something that needs to be taken seriously, it's also kind of funny considering how poor quality yearbook photos were 30+ years ago. I don't remember how they resolved it, but I remember it was a major fiasco. He brought a gun to school and posted it on Snapchat, instantly got caught and expelled. Stupidest thing anyone has ever done, but also a blessing in disguise. A few years ago, a kid at the high school I graduated from posted a Snapchat video of putting a gun in his backpack with the caption, "Tomorrow everyone will pay." A bunch of kids told on him and the police came to his house that night. Oh, and it was a BB gun. Stabbed a kid for mocking his dead sister. My buddy has an assault charge for similar. Punched a guy out at the bar for shit talking his dead sibling. Even the judge told him it was understandable but still not okay. Edit, just to at, freshly dead sibling. He and 3 other guys committed felony battery outside a school exit. The kid was leaving detention and they waited for him outside. Left the kid in a coma. He ended up dying in the hospital. So, expelled and awaiting trial for murder. Class clown. Chemistry class. Dude caused another student's experiment to react violently and blinded her. Half a dozen students saw him do it and heard him say he didn't like her because she was smart. He was in prison 4 years later. Dead 6 years after that. Shit. How did the girl who was blinded end up? Him and his cousin beat up the deputy principal and tried to kill him with a spade at school. No charges ended up being laid. Later went on to kill a tourist during the 2000 New Year's and dump his body in the harbor. Edit, brothers not cousins. Memory is a little hazy after 23 years. I personally didn't know them but knew enough to stay the fuck away from them. They were known for being trouble kids. Our art teacher stopped the attack. He's a hero emo. Well done sleuths for finding the articles. Oh my gosh, that is wild. He started a fire in some backpacks. This was an elementary school like 91-92ish and we were in like 2nd grade. After that no one was allowed to go into the hall unattended. Backpacks were in a weird corridor in the hallway outside the pod of classrooms. Another one was the only male cheerleader beat someone to pulp for making fun of him being a cheerleader. The fight was huge, interrupted all the classes and hundreds of students watched this cheerleader in uniform just pummel this other guy. They ended up outside the school in the middle of the street. Several teachers had to step in and stop the fight. I believe the cheerleader would have killed the kid if someone didn't intervene. Male cheerleaders have that skinny strong. You really shouldn't fuck with them. The dude smoked a joint in the school's pool area, claiming the chlorine would mask the scent of the weed. He was caught within 5 minutes of sparking it. Lol, idiot. Giving a BJ in the staircase with glass walls facing the cafeteria windows during lunch. And I'm assuming the recipient was not expelled. I'm only assuming the giver was female. Deleted. They punished him for being suicidal? That doesn't seem right. He looked at porn on a school computer. Deleted. Stole an exam from teacher's office. Teacher waited to see who else he gave it to. Both kids expelled. If you are smart enough to steal the exam but stupid enough to get 100%, then you deserve the boot. For spraying the fire extinguisher in the principal's face after he called him short. Your Honor, that's really funny. Sold dried parsley as weed. That is the smartest scam you could ever pull in a school. Get money and not get arrested even if weed is illegal or illegal in a school. He punched the prom queen. At prom. Right after she was crowned. Broken nose. Blood all over the dance floor. I don't remember the actual theme. Everyone refers to it as the Carrie prom. The guy was intelligent and was overall a nice kid and a good student when I first met him. He got in with the popular crowd who were a bunch of degenerate druggies. Watched him slowly fall down that slope from junior high to high school where he would just smoke weed all day and skip class. Experimenting with harder drugs. He ended up body slamming a kid he was bullying and the kid snapped his arm in half. Pretty bad compound fracture. Got expelled for that. My mother is a nurse and looked after him a few times. He was in and out of the hospital for drug addiction and alcohol abuse. Not sure if he turned his life around or if he is dead, but I'm hoping he cleaned up his act and has found his peace. He raped a girl with a broomstick with his buddies, videotaped it. His mom found the tape and turned them in. Damn, that's awful for that girl, but it's so good to hear that the mom turned them in. So many times I hear these sorts of stories and the parents were complicit. Baited a very mentally unwell homeless man into the school for the giggles. Man had a knife and after being refused fries from the school cafeteria threw a tantrum on the tables. Nobody was hurt, but the kid was expelled for threatening future safety. The school made him take it down and this was in 2012, but there used to be a video on YouTube of the incident. A guy in my dorm did this in college. He was drunk and let this homeless guy in with the intention of letting him crash in his room. Got close enough to smell the dude and decided he no longer wanted to let him in. Homeless guy trashed the lobby and scared the shit out of everyone, shit in a trash can and left. Got drunk on contraband screwdrivers at lunch and went to driver's ed. Crashed into some school buses parked on the driving course. That is next level stupidity, wow. Here's one. A girl got drunk at a house party. Some guy ejaculated on her hair and took photos of it, as well as a few photos of her naked and unconscious. The girl's boyfriend went John Wick on the guy when he got emailed the photos by the guy. He was sent away for beating the shit out of this sexual assaulter, who wasn't even given detention, and the girl's photos got sent around for years and people called her slut. Terrible school. Edit. I was away for 12 hours and this has kind of blown up. It was a big school, so if you think that it's your school, there's a chance it was. The guy knocked out most of the teeth of that bloke, and there was a long debate about whether it was justified. I reckon it was. Edit 2. This was in Australia, and I have no idea how any of the involved are now. I could ask, but don't want to. They were a couple of years above me. I hope he got his karma, besides the ass whooping, because that's the most fucked up thing I've heard all day. Kid said he was going to play a prank on a teacher. It turned out to be a Molotov through his windshield. Ah, the ol' Molotov through the windshield gag. Never fails to get a chuckle. Throwing peanuts at the girl who was known to be allergic. A couple years ago in the UK, a kid died after someone threw a piece of cheese at him that only touched his neck. https://www.theguardian.com/uk-news/2019/may/02/boy-with-allergy-died-cheese-flick-inquest told most terrifying allergy story I've ever heard. Fucking hell. So it didn't happen to me, but my friend was expelled for taking a shit in the teacher's purse. Deleted. Threw a chair at a teacher after we'd all been violated by her. For context, it was junior high and this teacher for some weird reason loved patting, rubbing our shoulders and backs. She did this to everyone and everyone hated it. She'd been asked to stop and even got reported to the board, but they did nothing. One day a girl who'd been sexually abused in the past had enough and threw a desk at the teacher. Girl got expelled, but again nothing happened to the teacher. Last I heard she's still teaching and we're still treated like we were crazy. This was back in 2001. Really made me lose faith in authority. Deleted. He got caught trying to fuck the rival high school's horse mascot in the field they kept it in after his football team lost. Excuse me, what? We had one kid that shit on a table and another kid ate it in high school. The shitter got expelled, but not the eater. Edit, I'm adding more details. These were both guys. There were a group of a few guys that thought it was cool to do things for actions like this. One of them also ate a live goldfish and took a shot of cum at a party. The eater was not expelled but I think suspended. He ended up going to Stanford. I have no clue what happened to the shitter. These people were in my grade, small class about 100 kids. This was around 2006 I believe. 2 kids, 1 desk. I bet the latter went the rest of the year with a shit-eating grin. I'll see myself out. Having a pound of weed in his car. Our middle school shop teacher had 2 pounds of weed found in his car on campus. No idea how they found it. He was still allowed to teach. This kid brought a gun to school cause he was gonna go sell weed after school. Dude was literally showing it to everyone and on the last passing period of the day he took it out in the most packed bathroom and everyone started laughing, screaming etc. So a teacher walked in and after asking around the school cop searched and arrested bro. Dude got in a fight with a teacher who publicly shamed him in front of his class for not caring. The dude was dyslexic and struggled to read aloud in class. Didn't have any more apathy than 60% of teenagers in a mandatory class. I work as a teacher now and I still think, while extreme, she had no right to do that to him. Dropped LSD in the English teacher's water before class. This was in the late 90s. I bet it was the late 70s for the teacher.